Hi, everyone, and welcome back to part 2 of episode 1. If you haven't yet heard the first part of the episode, then please go on back and take a listen. And if you are following along, then we rejoin the party after they have been given all of the information that they need in order to come to their own personal decision as far as whether or not to accept service with House Ummo, from at least the point of view of the major domo of the household, Joku. Now, immediately after this, the party is visited by a very stern and imperious noblewoman who is also a part of House Ummo. Apparently, the idea of leaving people with no sort of influence in making this fabled choice is not something that is universally shared within the household. Let's take a listen to how they deal with encountering the wonderful grandmother of House Ummo. As the heat of the day falls, there is a strong wind that arises off the sea that cuts through the humidity and brings a period of cool and dry with the oncoming twilight. The doors at the end of the hallway open up, and you hear the guards outside moving from their position as they adopt a formal bow. Out of the doors comes a small Myanim attendant with gray tuxedo fur, wearing the attire of a monk, with a quarterstaff adjusted for its small size, with an elderly tabaxi woman dressed in noble clothing of purple and royal blue, and black finery accompanying it, leaning on a walking stick.
Oh, I want her to scritch her behind the ears.
The old tabaxi comes into the room where the party is gathered, and without introduction or excuse, with great stiffness, the woman finds a spot and settles herself onto it, right in the middle of the party. The Myanim assists her as she groans against her age and says, "Lady Ummo Masaki," before stepping to her side and kneeling just on, well, not beside her because that would be on the bed, but within reach, attending. Where did Kimko go?
Peter immediately bows.
She returns the bow.
Lilo knows his court etiquette too.
She returns the bow of a superior to an inferior, but still gives the return bow. The old woman's fur is dusted with white, and what looks like once it was a sable coat has faded to grays and whites here and there, revealing stripes of black like a tiger. She has piercing blue eyes and a commanding, sharp presence, even while being at ease in her own villa. She looks about the party when she is ready to, and her eyes linger on Rhys, but she speaks to Peter. "I understand that you all come from off-world, and that you are here yourselves in mind and personality, but changed from where you came? Sent to us by these so-called new gods, yes? And with a purpose?"
Some of us have changed more than others, and it is true that none of us are here or from here originally. But I can't speak to being delivered with purpose. I myself feel rather adrift.
I did come here of my own accord and with purpose.
I met a being of power on the astral plane that diverted me from my course.
The old woman waves her hands, and the kneeling monk next to her says, "Yes or no will do. You're in the presence of the matriarch of House Ummo. Speak when you are spoken to, answer what is asked, and wait until she is finished before you volunteer more. Only if you consider it worth her time and interest." The noble gives a small sigh and says, "I'm afraid Kimko here is very protective of my time, you see, but her point is well considered. I'm 93 years old, and I don't have time to wait for long-winded answers, so please, a modicum of brevity might just see me alive by the end of this interview."
I apologize for impertinence.
"Yes, well, you have been identified to us as off-world nobility, so I do apologize to you for your treatment. You are considered by us to be blooded. Rhys and Espy bonded to you. After all, they accompanied you on your freeing of the ancient gold dragon from his prison, where you were given great rewards and then went on to try to free your city from the rule of an evil wizard of incredible power. These are very noble deeds and speak well to their esteem in House Ummo.
In that case, you are aware my answer is thus yes and no.
Too bad that the others didn't accompany you. This wilderness guide, and she points to Betimus, says his skills will undoubtedly serve the group well here. But you, Genasi, well, until you show your motives, you are suspect. Are you allied with the Genie Courts?
I am allied with no one. At least at this point.
She gives kind of a, oh, well, too bad we still don't know then. The Genasi are sometimes the enemies of the Felyani people back in our home plane. Sometimes our allies, but the Genie Courts are powers to be reckoned with in our lands, and also in this one. I am unsure of your motivations, but I know that you served the imperial courts of your own world in bringing order to the untamed wilderness frontier. So, I do hope that I can expect sympathy with the same cause that the Felyani are on, bringing civilization and magic to this backwater world with untapped natural resources. Once the monsters and noble savage natives are subdued and brought to heel, of course.
Of course.
Oh, I was going to say, out of character, maybe I missed something, but she had mentioned that this isn't their home plane. Is it House? Is it House Ummo that is not from here, or is it kind of all of these Tabaxi people, or is that something I'm not sure of yet?
You're not sure of it yet, are you asking?
Okay. No, because it is a waste of her time.
Oh, very good. You can be trained. She says, I am here to urge you to accept the choice tomorrow. As Dowager Lady of House Ummo, I have spent my life raising my children and grandchildren to serve the Empire as well as the forces of goodness. My grandson has been Pertan for many years since his father died in battle for the Empress against the forces of Tizdia here. May she live forever. He is in need of your services, though he may be too proud to ask. This place, for all that we have ruled these lands for 100 years now, remains wild and untamed in the spaces between the cities, and quite expensive to hold and maintain. Being Pertan, my grandson has many duties, and has risen to prominence in the suzerain courts here in the Jewel of the South. While the gateways to the Empire have been closed off these past 10 years, we have weathered the shortages of creature comforts better than most houses, and the local houses resent us for our shrewd planning and economic stability. You are all accomplished in your trades, and would give my son the ability to represent House Ummo where he cannot afford to go personally or publicly. So, she clears her throat. Join our house, and I promise that if you serve my son faithfully, you will not long be beholden in this house. Not if I have anything to say about the matter. You all get the distinct impression from your short time with her, that this is a woman who is still used to getting her way one way or another despite her advanced age. Lady Masaki opens her mouth to continue, and a baritone voice calls out from the doorway of the villa, or from the courtyard of the villa, Grandmother, Lady Masaki, where are you? It is not long before the guards motion outside the door, and in comes this gentleman, the tall one. An extremely comely, well-built tabaxi with luxurious short body fur, the color of blackest midnight, with a golden chain connecting his pierced nostril and right earlobe, comes over to the gathering. Without missing a beat, Masaki continues speaking to the group, saying, well, those certainly are interesting funeral customs. I'm not certain a flensed skull animated with illusions to capture scenes from my life would be exactly appropriate for us, since we are, after all, civilized peoples. But I could definitely see the merit of gems of illusion being arranged inside the mausoleum in the necropolis, projecting scenes of my life on certain days of remembrance. The male tabaxi gives a laugh, rolls his eyes at the kneeling Myanim. Planning your funeral again, Grandmother? I keep telling you, you'll outlive us all. I apologize for interrupting, but Lady Azorza requests your presence in the nursery. Is something wrong? Masaki asks, genuinely concerned. The tabaxi shakes his head. I think she just needs the reassurance of your company. Masaki rises to her feet with some difficulty, aided by her grandson, and the attendant, and says to her grandson with some asperity. Meksu went through great trouble to bring Sister Shunma here to comfort her grandchild. Really, such a fuss over a foolish young bride who has yet to produce a living heir. In my day, she would have been set aside already for a more suitable and fertile mate. Oh, well, thank you for the visit. You have all been most instructive in the funeral customs of your homelands. My, you outlanders do have the strangest of customs. I certainly hope you choose to stay. We have so much more to speak about. She'll make her way out, along with her attendant. The man grins. Once his grandmother is back in the villa proper, he turns and says, "Let me guess, she was trying to influence you to make the choice and stay to serve House Ummo? You will forgive the subterfuge. You'll find that my brother and sisters both care far more for tradition than I do, but my grandmother does love her little deceptions. I think it reminds her of her younger days running the espionage operations for the invasion of Tizdia for the Empress. May she live forever. If she's even still alive." When he says that, the guards kind of shoot him a look like, did you just say that out loud? But he doesn't seem to notice.
Question out of character.
Sure.
Did he mean that at his grandmother or the Empress?
The Empress, obviously.
Okay.
My name is Ummo Kyo. Welcome to the household. It's not every day we take on new servants. Everyone will naturally be curious about you, especially with such fascinating stories as yours. Whatever you choose, I will be very interested to learn every detail of what it was like to meet the gods.
We look forward to sharing our tales with you, Lord.
He looks at you, and he says, "Oh, that's very generous of you. I could never, but no, thank you. Really, I insist. After all, we are both eloquenti."
I'll speak up and say, apologies for my ignorance, but is brevity your favorite response as well, or is that only for your grandmother?
Oh, that's just grandma. I'm not dead yet.
I kind of took it as a personal offense. I was just like, geez, a bit stuck up, not really used to dealing with arrogant nobility.
Reminded me of my mother.
Eloquenti. I'm not familiar with this term.
Oh, the name of our college. We bards who studied from the College of Eloquence. We're called eloquenti here.
Oh.
Hey, this is Adam from the future again. I am jumping ahead here a little bit to gloss over some stuff. We did have an excellent roleplay session of the following day where the characters, the party gathered in their quarters that night and came to their final decisions and had final debates about whether or not they were going to accept the offer. Spoiler alert, they all accepted the offer to become part of the household for House Ummo. And as a result of that, they received their first mission. Now, because we're working in the Tier 3 levels and higher now, combat itself is not necessarily going to scale all the time. It's not always going to be appropriate. So I picked up, at the advice of the Dungeon Coach, I will link his YouTube channel below, one of his homebrew methods, which looks back to Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition for the skill challenges. And I do admit that I had some administrative issues with not exactly understanding things. We're still kind of feeling our way through this, but initial results were very positive. A little bit of confusion, but we did address that as a party afterwards. So let's come right on ahead and take a look at the skill challenge that the household leader, the Pertan Meksu, had put before them as a condition of their first of their accepting the offer and joining his household as bondsman. And that was essentially this. There is a ship in the harbor that is docked, about to sail on the morning high tide. And on that ship, the captain had hidden away a small wooden puzzle box that he described in detail for them. He didn't mention what the contents of the puzzle box were, just that the captain had no intention of giving over this puzzle box, even though she knew that the box belonged to him, and that he wanted to deal with this in a more circumspect manner, and therefore the party was being sent to infiltrate the ship and its defenses while it was getting ready to sail on the morning tide. And under the cover of darkness, they were going to find a way to get on board, to locate the puzzle box, to retrieve the puzzle box, and then to return to the villa of House Ummo with the puzzle box, so that the captain would only basically get a slap on the wrist with the minor loss of face for having tried to keep the puzzle box from its rightful owner, but it being returned anyway, as opposed to a public accusation, which would be necessary to get the law of the land involved. And so that was their first mission. They were specifically told no violence, no deaths, avoid armed conflict. It would be better for them to be caught and apprehended by the captain than it would be for them to cause any kind of lasting damage to, especially to the people involved, because this was a trading vessel that the Pertan himself was funding. So it's not a place that they could just go in with, swords flashing and spells blazing. They had to kind of think about this a little bit more. So let's join the party and see what they came up with as the solution.
I think we're about as ready as we can be at the moment.
All right, our skill challenge has begun. You must make your way onto the Swan, locate the puzzle box, and return with the puzzle box to the villa, ideally without being spotted, apprehended, detained, and certainly above all else, not causing any fatalities in the process. First turn begins now. 0 strikes, 0 successes, go.
Do we roll initiative?
Nope. Initiative is only needed if you're going to contest the order in which you're going. So if 2 players are going to try and simultaneously do something to compete against each other, then we do initiative. Otherwise, everyone in the party takes a turn in whatever order you feel is the best to accomplish your goals, and then I update the situation, and then we start again. So if your first contribution to the success of this is to use Arcane Eye in order to scout out the ship, right?
Yes.
Give me what kind of a spell roll, or what roll do you want to try and make in order to run the Arcane Eye?
Arcana?
Okay. Go ahead and give me the Arcana check.
Is this public or private?
Public's fine.
Thanks.
No problem. So how detailed are you making the scan? And are you doing the whole ship, or what are you trying for?
I'm trying to find the box first, and then going for where people are, and since we've got the telepathic thing, I can just share everything I see.
At the going up, that's a good question. Are you going? Well, really, the only opening right now is on the main deck. So where you are currently,
Aft portholes.
Yeah, the portholes are open too. So you can go in the aft portholes, or you can go in the main deck. Which one do you want to do? The main deck, where you're coming in now, is close to where the gangplank would arrive on the ship. But you have a tabaxi, you have a thief, you have people with spells and abilities. Levitating and climbing is not going to be an issue. Okay, and then immediately to the south of the stairway up is a door leading into the actual deck part where the portholes would be looking out. You can see light coming from the doorway to the south. You can see a stairway leading down to your north.
If I were a captain, where would I live? Let's go to the door down at the end.
Okay.
It does take a 1-inch hole for the eye to get through.
No such hole through this door. It's a very well-made door.
How about this way?
Yeah, you can manage to get through that door.
Is there a porthole I can go out?
All of those windows are portholes, and they are open.
Except I can't move out. I'm basically trying to find a porthole end to the room at the end.
You can move out now. Through there, you can see a very richly apportioned...
Oh, through here?
Yeah, all of them.
Okay.
There's a desk, there's a table with comfortable chairs, there's another desk across from there's the door that you would have gone in. There's a couple of bookcases full of books and scrolls, and there's thick drapes or curtains blocking off the southern portion of the room.
Okay. So one of the portholes open.
Yeah, they're all open.
I'm looking for a puzzle box.
No puzzle box that you can see, but go ahead and give me a perception check.
Alrighty. Not a good skill for me.
Well, you're doing just fine. No puzzle boxes here. Nothing that looks like it's a container for anything. The bookcase seems to be legit, like it's holding books, charts, rudders, trading manuals, and different. You can grab a little quick thing, training, treatises on things. Yes, there is a gap in the curtains. When you go in, you see that this is indeed the captain's main quarters, you would guess.
And that looks like a
very
chest.
Sumptuous bed. There is a locked and bound chest.
Any gaps or holes I can get into?
No.
Okay. And food. My apologies. I hadn't marked off my spell slot yet. I could switch to locate object peeps, but then I'd lose the arcane eye and have to recast it. Didn't someone else have locate?
I do.
But you're not there.
Correct.
Right now you sent the eye on ahead. So.
Okay. I don't know how much time you want me to take before switching to someone else, to be fair.
My question to you now is, there's no way to get through that door, but the porthole is open.
Yep,
so,
at this point, I would head back up to the main deck. And
you would be able to get in and see that there's another area in here where there are, additional scrolls. Some of these look like spell scrolls, books that look like they're for sale kind of deal. Like this is a place where there might be a cash box hidden somewhere under the flooring or whatnot, as it's the captain's private stash room.
Well,
now, did you want to do anything more with the rest of the decks?
Yeah, I want to head up to the main deck and I want to look for all the guards and people.
So there are guards that are up on the poop deck and the forward castle.
Okay, and I'm letting the party know where they are.
There are also guards up in the aloft main.
So lots. How many total?
It doesn't actually, guard is the wrong term. It looks like there's about a dozen sailors that are busy working on the rigging, trying to get the ship in ship shape for sailing out tomorrow.
Okay.
So they're up in the rigging. They're all over the top of the area. And that's basically what you would get.
But they're not specifically on guard.
No, they're busy getting the ship ready for sailing out tomorrow. Lilo reports back and says, "Great. I managed to scout things out. If the puzzle box is where we were told it was going to be, then it should be easily accessible, in the aft cabin. And there doesn't seem to be anyone in the captain's quarters at the moment. At least no one that I could see."
Did you spot the captain at all?
I did not. We're telepathic. You saw what I saw. Or how does that spell work? I don't have that spell.
You're able to communicate it well enough. We're fine. Okay. Nobody's around you to hear, even if you did use verbal communication.
Yep. And my contribution was going to be to make sure that nobody did get close enough to us. So that's okay. All right. So let's move out. We will use the stream as cover, water walk. And I guess the only thing is, do we want a major image of us over top of us to layer so that people really
walking
don't
on water tend to get attention?
Yeah, so we should kind of cover up somehow. Do we want me to use a spell?
Yeah. I wish yeah, you should shield us somehow.
Is this a pass without trace kind of thing, or something else?
Well, I guess that's our next question. Do we want to use a pass without trace to get us there? or
I
most
can do
of the
it
way
3
there.
times.
Yep.
Well,
And again, we want one for the way out.
Yep.
The bonus to stealth is worthwhile, I think.
Yeah, the plus 10 bonus.
And he did give us a teleport back item, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, was that one item we have to group up, or do we all have our own?
It would have been one item you all group up.
I've got it. I'm the wizard. I know how to use it.
Yeah, you break it. Smash to get the fuck out of there. You know?
Okay. So I'll do ritual, water walk, and then general consensus is use a pass without a trace.
Okay. Give me a. So what school is pass without trace?
That is an abjuration.
All right. So far we've done a divination and an abjuration. Go ahead and give me a spell check, a spell attack roll, even though it's not an attack.
You want a stealth check or a spell attack?
Spell attack roll, please.
Okay. I didn't have it perfect. So 8.
So
This is fantastic.
You have an inspiration?
None of us
Yeah,
do
he
that,
doesn't.
I don't think.
I've got one.
Why do you have one?
You gave it to me for some reason, for like being first or being ready.
I did. Anyway.
It's on there. I didn't put it on there.
Okay. Yeah, so that is strike 1.
You guys are welcome.
You do not receive the plus 10 bonus to your stealth check. You think that you've cast the spell successfully. You think that it's going to work, but unfortunately for you, when you get out towards the end of the dock, I mean, getting out to the end of the dock is no problem, but once you're underneath where the actual sailors are, you realize that there are sailors from the White Swan who are down on the waterline in a tiny little raft that are trying to smuggle stuff out of the ship. And you don't see them until too late for it to be a hiding thing. And immediately they raise the alarm. And so they give out a shout before basically ditching and swimming underneath the boat. And from that shout, you hear the alarm being called on the ship itself. So the sailors are now, they're alert to the fact that something is going on.
Okay.
They don't know what. They haven't seen you yet, but they know and they're alerted. So they are underneath a general alarm. You hear shouts all over the ship, which speaks well to the discipline of the crew, because it didn't take anything beyond the one sailor crying out with the alarm to basically get the whole ship on alert watch.
Okay. Umleo.
Next.
Yeah, Umleo, can you describe exactly where we need to be?
No, yeah. You
From
saw
here?
it too.
Okay, Adam, is that good enough for me for a dimension door?
Yes.
From where we are?
Yeah,
The
well,
memory of it?
yes. How far can you go with Dimension Door?
400 feet, I think?
500 feet.
Yes.
500 feet.
You have enough for a Dimension Door into any of the places in the aft area or that the Arcane Eye went, because you have the telepathic bond. So,
Who wants to go? I can take one person with me.
Take us.
If we can.
Take our best sneaker.
Let's go, SB. Grab SB and in the ship.
and that's transmutation.
Conjuration.
Really? Zoom in on your token and figure out where you want to go. I'll just say, put yourself in the space that you want you and SB to appear in.
All right, and this was the room where Umlilo was saying was most likely to have it?
Yes. This is obviously the captain's quarters, assuming that your intelligence was correct, but you can...
All right, it's in that case, right where I am. And then SB will be just to the south of me.
As soon as I can find you.
Bamf. Give me a... Well, I mean, what kind of skill check, what kind of roll would you like to make for that? A spell attack? You got to beat the difficulty check.
Well, that's still going to be my best bet. Oh, Jesus.
That was a save.
You did a save. You need a...
Yeah, but it's the same. It's the same bonuses. So I figured it was just a fast way to get there. But I mean, obviously, I will happily re-roll it, but...
Yeah, reroll as a spell attack.
All right, let me find a spell with an attack. That'll work, maybe. If I can actually just find...
Does anyone
There.
have syntax for spell attack? Trying to figure out how to code it.
Oh, do you have any cantrips that do damage that rolls to hit?
It
I
has no cantrips.
don't, but
Okay.
I think I could find one.
So in powers, what you want to do is add an effect called cast.
Yeah, I have that one. I do. It doesn't roll. It just does the.
If you have to edit it and give it its like stat and everything, and it here I'll do it on myself just to make sure it works.
Oh, you need a target.
I see.
All right. You bamf in. You have succeeded. So far, we have 2 successes, 1 strike. SB, what are you doing?
The first thing I need to do is get my bearings of what do I see, and start investigation for looking for this object. But after perception, I'm going to need detect magic.
That's me. Yeah, I just
Which
made the
is-
spell attack thing, and it works just fine.
What spell school is Detect Magic?
Divination.
Can't use it. It's off the table.
Why?
Arcane
the
Eye
eye
already
off.
used divination for this round.
Okay, so no detect magic this round. Okay. Then I'm using regular old thief skills of perception and investigation in the room I'm in.
So, Adam, you're saying we're still basically within the first cinematic scene?
Yep.
Okay. So basically, everybody's going to have to figure out something to roll before we move to the next one.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, I got it fixed.
Okay, so mine will be investigation then. That since I'm actually looking for.
Go ahead and roll it. You begin to look around the room and say, where would I hide something valuable? And then you go, aha, the trunk. Because the curtains are open. So you manage to investigate, and you are reasonably assured from using your little mirrors and whatnot with the thieves' tools that you think that you've seen the corner of the puzzle box inside the chest. Peter! It's Peter's turn.
I guess I can't opt to do nothing because there's nothing I can do. I'm not at the ship.
You're down at the bottom. You're on the water line, though. There is a ship in front of you. You're standing on the water.
For all we know, the puzzle chest is getting away with those people stealing.
Set the rowboat adrift. Make
Well,
them
it was
chase
a raft. It wasn't a rowboat.
Okay, set the raft adrift. Make them chase it.
Yeah, there is a raft down here with it looks kind of like it's, might be smuggled something, it's small chests and bottles or casks of brandy and stuff. So you're thinking this is smuggling, unloading cargo while the harbor master is asleep.
And what happened to the sailors that were on the raft?
They dove underneath the boat.
I'm at a loss of what to do. I guess, push the raft away. So they're watching the raft.
Okay. We will say that is trying
Athletics?
to cause a distraction. So that's an 8 another. So your difficulty check is lower. And what you're doing with the difficulty check is basically an athletics to push the raft away to try and draw the attention of anyone who may be down here. Right?
Yeah. Sure.
All right. Go ahead and give me an athletics check. No problem. You manage to push the thing away, and you do kind of get the sense that you actually see the ripples of the 2 smuggling sailors who actually surface a bit and go swimming after the raft. They're obviously ignoring you. All right, I need everybody to make a stealth check. Because of the distraction that was just provided by Peter, everyone gets to make it at advantage. Go ahead and roll your stealth. I gotta increase my difficulty checks.
Oh my god.
No problem. Everyone is in good position in the sense that, you hear people kind of leaning over the gunnels to look down and see. You hear the sailors up top trying to peer between, and you kind of maneuver yourselves around the piers and the pilings. And you do hear Espy and Riss manages to freeze just in time as they hear footsteps coming out in the immediate hallway and hear voices that are speaking in Felyani. However, Riss would be able to basically translate for everyone across the link, saying that like one of them is the captain saying, go aloft and see what all the, go out on deck and find out what all the rigmarole is, and other people going. So, alrighty. Who's going to start us off with the next one? Round 2.
Well, that should be Espy, since she's standing looking over a chest.
I kind of figured. What are you doing?
Well, Espy doesn't take everything for just because it looks easy doesn't mean it is. So I think I see it inside, but...
Yes, Riss. You think you see it inside. The chest is locked.
Okay. But it could have a magical trap. But let me start with mechanical traps and do thieves' tools. I forget how that works. Is that...
Just roll a d10.
No, it's... you don't need it to use it unless you actually need it.
So just make an effect that says inspiration.
Yeah, I
Riss, roll performance. No problem. Another success for the challenge. Riss uses his action this round to provide inspiration for Espy.
You got this. Remember that time in the Undermountain? Yeah. This isn't any worse than that. No worries.
And I'm thinking, yeah, which time? Okay, so, I am doing... Well, first, is it trapped? So I guess I have to do an investigation of is it trapped.
Well, you had done an investigation. As far as you can tell, it's only locked.
Oh, then I will attempt to physically unlock it this turn.
Go ahead and make your Thieves' Tools check. No problem. You managed to open up the chest, and sure enough, there's the puzzle box. That's another success for the challenge. So we are at 5 successes and 1 strike. The only thing that remains for you to do now is to get off of the ship. Who's next?
Right, with another detour?
Yeah, but not until scene 3. So everybody else has to figure out something to do for the rest of this scene, and then we can dimension door back out.
Or climb through the porthole.
We've already done something. We can't do anything else this scene.
Oh, good point.
Have we used transmutation this round?
No, we have not.
If we need to get in or out of the porthole, I could cast rope trick at the back of the boat, and we could use the rope to either go up into it or just climb down to the water safely.
Go ahead and give me a spell roll. Spell attack roll.
Oh, okay.
Well, you got 2 ones this time.
Yeah, no problem. You managed to cast rope trick, and now there is a rope. Espy and Riss can tell from the telepathic bond that out on the back side, on the port side of the boat, so basically you just have to cross the chamber next time, there is a dangling rope for rope trick that has been cast by Venomous, and you would be over here because the back windows don't open. All right, Peter, what are you doing? Or Umlilo. One of you has to go.
This is part of what I don't... I mean, technically I can't continue to use the eye because divination's been used.
Right, so you would use something else. Well, it would be part of the thing. Nobody has used perception.
So I can use perception. Okay.
Through the divination eye.
Yep. Making sure they're not being snuck up on, best escape routes, that sort of thing.
All right, provide the lookout. Go ahead and roll. Oh. Luckily, you've already scored enough successes to end the challenge successfully. All that has to happen now is that SB and Riss has to get to the porthole. Peter, what you do see, Umlilo, is you see the first mate and the bosun come out on the deck and start basically yelling orders to the rest of the crew in Felyani, which Riss's translation delayed response provides them being basically like, what the hell's going on? And the stammering of the guards on the gangplank basically saying, well, we heard somebody from down below give the thing. And then the first mate's like, what do you mean down below? You're standing on the docks. And then like the bosun goes over and sees the people swimming swimming after the raft. And it's like, man, like, what are you doing? Get back to the boat, Starts giving a tongue lashing to the would-be smugglers out there with their raft of ill-gotten gains. What are you doing, Peter?
I'm probably trying to slip back underneath the dock.
Well, I mean, you are. That's where you've never quite left under the dock.
Oh.
You can start heading back because you know that they've got the stuff.
Or give him Lilo a guidance for his next perception check.
I guess that would probably fall under aid another if I cast guidance. I'd be doing another aid.
The aid another, it only matters if you repeat the actions. So you aided another before by creating a diversion. You're not creating a diversion now. You're aiding another through casting a spell. What is the spell school?
It's divination.
So you couldn't do that.
I wonder, can I cast... No, it has to be on a creature. I was wondering if I could cast Cold Toll of the Dead towards the front of the ship to create a gonging noise out as a distraction.
Is there a fish or a seagull?
Yeah, I'm sure there's fish enough nearby.
So I'm going to try and create a gong noise as a distraction out towards the front of the ship.
All right. Go ahead and give me a spell attack roll.
I gotta think the ship is haunted.
I'm good with that.
I don't think I have any spells that are attacks.
You have Pull the Dead.
Yeah, it's a save. Yeah, I do not have a single spell attack roll.
All right. All of a sudden, from where Peter is standing, there's the enormous tolling of a bell. Luckily, because he's standing right on the waterline, the sound echoes through the acoustics of where you're standing are perfect for it because it kind of echoes out. So it just, no one can quite tell where it came from. And people are looking around. Give me a stealth check, Peter. No problem. By some absolute sheer luck, you managed to duck and weave behind another piling just in time to avoid the close scrutiny of sailors who are now, shining bullseye lanterns down on the waterline looking for what the hell is going on. All right. Everybody give me their stealth checks. Actually, Peter, you just made yours. Everybody else give me their stealth checks this round.
Do we still have advantage?
You do not. Actually, you do. You do. Because Peter drew everyone's attention to himself. All right. Nobody had any problems. Everybody managed to avoid. SB, you hear the door beginning to open. And then you hear, from translated through Riss's comprehend languages, you hear the captain kind of give a sigh and be like, what the fuck is going on? And turn around and to go out herself, and the door shuts behind. You won't have any trouble getting down the rope across the room at the end of this turn. You're all back on the water line. Your water walking is still working. Give me one last stealth check just to see if anybody spots you as you're leaving, but you are making your way back up to the docks. Everybody heaves a sigh of relief as you manage to escape any further notice and steal away over the surface of the water, puzzle box in hand. So the party had indeed retrieved the puzzle box. They managed to return to shore, teleport back to the villa, where they were ushered immediately into the presence of Ummo. Almost equally immediately, the captain of the ship was ushered into the presence of Ummo, and before the party was able to give their account of things, the captain was asked whether or not the party had successfully achieved their mission goal. The captain replied in the affirmative and revealed that everything had been a test in order to see whether or not the party was capable of functioning as a new coterie for House Ummo. Ummo was quite satisfied with the reports that were given. He declared them all to be bondsmen of his house and gave them their first real assignment, which was to return to the ship that they had just plundered and to sail away with it as a part of a task of a mission crew to deal with a young blue dragon, which had been harrying the shipping lanes between Hesheba City and Dwemer Vale, which was the dwarven capital on the coast far to the east. A couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks journey by sea. And so the party found themselves being given just enough time, all of their spell books back, etc., and were able to recharge before going off for their second mission. And this concludes episode 1, part 2. Tune in next time as the party goes off to try and deal with Young Blue Dragon. As for now, thank you so much, and please enjoy your gaming. My name is Adam, I am the Game Master, and I also run One for Fun Gaming.